I'm going to quote your book here that was written in 2020, I believe, right?
Yes, right before COVID.
Right before.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to read one sentence in here right in the front, page 10, that says, the problem with the chemical imbalance theory is that despite 50 years of research, there remains no evidence to validate it and a long list of studies refuting it. So
yes.
You wrote this back 2 years ago. Why do you think that only now is July that this recent, evidence-based review was published? Why do you think it took so long to actually get any press whatsoever?
I think we all, as humans, right, we believe what we want to believe and we look for facts to back that up. I mean, we all have that tendency. We're all guilty of that.
Sure.
But all of psychiatry is based on this idea. And so I think, one, it's easy to not see it because it's certainly not in any of the papers really that psychiatrists are reading. So it's kind of easy. Or your family physician, you actually prescribe more of these meds than psychiatrists do. And so I think we just kind of live in denial, kind of like climate change, right? We don't want to believe it's happening, so we just ignore it, despite the fact that the hurricanes sweeping through at epic scale. But I think that's just how our brains tend to work.
Yeah.
But this study was pretty convincing and at least got some people talking.
Right.
Although it was still a minimal conversation. And I was super curious what psychiatry would say. And psychiatry did what psychiatry does, which is pretty much said nothing, just keep going on, same old. So even though there's this study which looks at all the studies that have been done, looked at all the possible ways that serotonin depression could be linked, and they found none.
Yeah.
I think probably most psychiatrists haven't even read the study or know it even exists. Or if it does, they assume that some crazy person wrote it. Or, that it wasn't well done or that there was some bias or whatever, right? There's lots of ways to kind of think about it the way we want to think about it.
Of course.
But it was a really sound study. And the only people that have responded have basically said, well, we've known that forever. We know that that's not the truth, but 80% of the population believes that it is because we're telling them that. The society is telling them that, psychiatrists are telling them that, their family physician is telling them that. So they believe it. Yeah. And then the other thing the psychiatrists that have responded will say is, we know that's not true. And then when they're asked, well, why do you keep telling people that? They basically just say, well, it just simplifies it. It's too complex. So basically saying that the public isn't smart enough or able to understand the complexity. But the reality is I don't think there's a good answer. So we don't want to say we don't know. That's a bad answer. Yeah. And then how do you convince somebody to take these medications, which is really the only tool in the box, if we don't have a good rationale for it?
And it is the only tool in the box for many people and many psychiatrists and in medicine alone. And you got to look at that a little bit, right?